This past week, Hermes presented the second chapter of their fall-winter collection in New York, out of all places, which I believe it was the first time that they did that, but it's actually not that surprising considering that the current creative director of Hermes used to live and work in New York. But anyway, we're not here to talk about her today, but to review some of the collection, most of which you'll be familiar with. But I still wanted to have a quick chat about some of these more popular pieces, just so if anything piques your interest, you can be first in line to put in a request at your store before everyone else does. So without further ado, if you'd like to hear my honest thoughts on some of the new pieces and some of the oldies that are making a comeback, including the highly anticipated resurgence of the CDC collection, some Kelly bags that have been quite popular for the past few seasons, and even some fun, quirky finishes that some iconic pieces will be offered in for this upcoming season, then make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet, and keep on watching. Let's dive straight in. Now, when it comes to my runway reviews, you know that I rarely talk about ready-to-wear, and that's not because I have anything against Hermes ready-to-wear, but purely because I don't want to get your hopes up. Unless you shop at a flagship, you're lucky if you get to see 5 to 10% of these pieces on shelves, because most Hermes boutiques will strictly buy from the Hermes commercial line. When it comes to ready-to-wear, it can be divided into two groups: commercial and runway pieces. And runway pieces, most of these things will never make it into production, and even if they do, they'll only be offered to flagships and also in very, very limited numbers and limited size ranges. And that's why I don't want to waste our time spending too much time talking about these pieces. But I wanted to give honorable mention to two details. The first one is the Rockabar print. A lot of this collection was inspired by the brand's equestrian heritage, which is something that is going to be no surprise if you're familiar with the brand, but the Rockabar blanket was used as inspiration for some of the prints. If you're not familiar with the Rockabar blanket, it's something that I unboxed a couple of years ago. It's actually a blanket that's part of the equestrian line, and it was inspired by some of the blankets that were used to wrap racehorses in the 19th century. And it is this really thick, robust, kind of itchy and scratchy blanket that is offered for horses. Some people do use it around their homes. I personally wouldn't, not that there's anything wrong with it. I bought mine for Pi. It wasn't the best purchase because it is a magnet for pet hair, but it's not that really luxurious soft blanket that you would expect to see from a luxury brand. And that is why it's still part of the equestrian collection and it hasn't made its way into the home line, purely because your expectations cannot be the same for this as they would be for something like the Avalon. And this difference in material is also reflected in the price. So don't think that if you look at this blanket, you'll get a really luxurious blanket for a fraction of the price of the Avalon, because that's not going to be the case. This was meant for horses, and it also feels like it. Anyway, we are not here to review the Rockabar blanket, but I wanted to put this on your radar in case you're a big Hermes fan and you love their equestrian heritage. The Rockabar print is being reworked on some of their silk pieces. Now, the Rockabar blanket was originally offered in navy blue. At this point, there are a handful of different colors. I think it also comes in a shade of red and mustard yellow, but the blue with the stripes is the original print. So that is something that you'll see as a reoccurring pattern for this collection. And then something else that's kind of out of the ordinary is a tweed-like fabric being introduced, because Hermes is offering some really classically feminine shapes in this beautiful tweed-like fabric with what seems to be sort of these silk strings woven through the fabric itself, which I think is really quite special. So if you are really into your Hermes ready-to-wear, these are two special finishes or two special takes that I have not seen before. Of course, there are going to be plenty of wool and cashmere coats, some beautiful leather pieces, but these are two things that I feel are quite special for this particular season. And speaking of reoccurring elements and reoccurring details, the CDC belts and bracelets are making a huge comeback. Not that the CDC bracelets ever went anywhere, but the CDC belt, even though it was around for decades, it was discontinued a few years ago, and it has been slowly making its way back into the collection. But this year, or this upcoming season, seems to be all about the CDC belt, which was traditionally offered in size 50. And this is one of the most iconic, most show-stopping belts. Obviously, it is not for the faint of heart, not only because of the look. Obviously, it has this really bold, edgy, and kind of don't mess with me look. I feel like if you have this belt on, no one is going to question whatever you have to say. But it's also a pricey piece to have in your collection, but I do think you are getting a ton of bang for your buck, because this is the kind of piece that you can put on with the most basic of outfits. It will immediately elevate you. But this piece, depending on what leather you pick this up in, starts at $3,900 currently. It's available in Epsom, in Madame. I remember seeing it in box. Now in box it is slightly more expensive, don't quote me on this, but I think in box it's $4,300 or something along those lines. But in the past it was also available in lizard as well as matte and shiny alligator. And this is for the true Hermes connoisseur. If you're into Hermes and you wear these thicker belts, I would not skip this belt. I think this is one of the most special, most unique, most eye-catching pieces that you can have in your collection. And it is truly one of those pieces that will take your collection to the next level. Of course, as long as you appreciate this bold and edgy look. Now, previously the CDC was offered in several different sizes, and I do think we also saw the CDC in different width on the runway, because the 50 is definitely for those who are looking to make a statement. But if you appreciate the idea and the design of this belt, but you're looking for something that is just slightly more understated, I hope we'll get this belt in slightly thinner width. And if you don't want to go quite as far as the CDC belt, which I completely understand, maybe you don't wear belts like that, like I do, the CDC bracelets, of course, are being paid tribute to. Not that, again, those pieces ever went anywhere. They have been around since the 1930s. So what you have to know about the CDC is that CDC stands for Collier de Chien, which means dog collar, because this original mechanism and the 4 studs with the ring were used on dog collars in the 20th century. And it was in 1927 that they were first used on a belt that was intended for human use. And I believe I did an in-depth review on the CDC collection and the inspiration behind it, the different width and sizes, years ago. So if that's something that you would like me to redo, let me know in the comment section. I would be happy to do that. But anyway, what you have to know about this piece is that it has been around for almost 100 years. At least the belt has been around for almost 100 years. But this original design with the sliding mechanism, the clou de Medor studs, and the ring was initially used on hunting dog collars. And then in 1927, it was translated into a human piece. Now, the CDC bracelet, of course, comes in a huge range of different colors and leathers, but it is definitely for those who are looking for a show-stopping head-turning piece, and for those who can pull off quite a thick piece, because this bracelet measures 4 centimeters, and it is really quite a chunky piece, which Hermes is aware of, and that's why they introduced the so-called CDC 24 a few years ago. This is basically half the size of the original CDC. Well, not quite, because I think this is 4 centimeters, whereas this is 2.4 centimeters in width, but it feels a lot lighter because they got rid of these 4 Medor pyramids and the ring, which actually moves, and that's what I think gives this piece such a big presence. The fact that you not only have this huge statement piece on your wrist, but you're also making quite a bit of noise, whereas this piece only features the sliding mechanism, which I personally do prefer, because traditionally the CDC, you would have the ring and the 4 Medor pyramids on top, and then you would have the sliding mechanism at the base, but I actually prefer it the other way around because I love this really unique sliding mechanism. And if you are in the same boat, I would highly suggest checking out the CDC 24, because this is a lot thinner. It creates an incredible look on its own, but you can of course stack this with other pieces, and I think this is one of those rare pieces that not only looks great with other pieces of fashion jewelry, but you can actually stack this with pieces of fine jewelry. So if you have things like the Kelly bangle or even the love bracelet in your collection that you're looking to spice up, this I actually think would look amazing with any one of those pieces. So this might be something that you want to explore. This is already out now. It has been for a few years, but it is definitely going to be a piece that we'll be seeing a lot more of in the coming year, and it is a lot more reasonably priced than the original CDC. So I think this starts at around $900 in Madame, but again, it's offered in a ton of different leathers, including exotic skins. I think it's in alligator, around $2,000, but you can pick this up in regular skins at around $900. Mine is in black Madame with rose gold hardware, but you have plenty to choose from. And you are getting a new finish for the upcoming season as well, because this piece is also being introduced in shearling for fall winter, which was shown on the runway. And we are getting the Kelly pocket belt, which again is not a new design. It's something that has been around for a few years. It is basically the iconic adjustable Kelly belt that comes with an additional pocket. We are also getting that piece in a shearling finish, which is the new finish I was referring to at the beginning of this video. So if you are really into your shearling pieces, don't forget that the CDC 24 is going to be available in shearling, and so will the Kelly pocket. And with that, I think we are done with all the accessories that I wanted to put on your radar. So long story short, we are getting the CDC belt in size 50, which is back full-time, and it starts at $3,900 currently. In Epsom or Madame, you are getting a new take on the Kelly pocket belt, and then the CDC is going to be in the spotlight for this upcoming season. When it comes to bags, there were not that many new bags. In fact, most of these I feel like we have just talked about. So the Plume bag made an appearance on the runway. The Plume bag has been around since the 1960s, and it was originally designed as a really lightweight take on a travel bag. In fact, that's where the name comes from. So Plume, if I'm not mistaken, means feather in French, and the name speaks for itself. It was named the Plume because it was a feather light take on a travel bag. This bag is all about the divine leathers that Hermes uses. There is no obvious branding. There aren't any chunky, clunky hardware details. It really lets the leathers shine and speak for themselves. All of these bags, even though they are available in a huge range of different sizes, they all feature two top handles, except the newest Plume bag, which is being introduced for the summer, which is called the Plume Chain Mini. It's something that we looked at in my last What's New from Hermes video. But apart from that, all of the Plume bags feature two really simple roll top handles. Some of them come with a strap, others do not, but they are just a really simple stripped down geometric shape, and they are definitely making a comeback for fall winter. I don't think this is going to be everyone's cup of tea, but if you love a really stripped down, really iconic, timeless shape that will never go out of style, it might not be the hottest bag, but it's not something that will ever go out of style. I think you will be really happy to see this bag making a comeback. I don't think it's going to be force-fed to us. I think it's going to be around in limited numbers, but if you appreciate this design and you like investing in bags that will be around for a really, really long time, it might be something that you want to ask for. The most popular size of the Plume is the Plume Mini 2, which measures 18 centimeters, and it is kind of the Plume bag's take on a Mini Kelly. The Plume Mini, the Mini Bolide, and the Mini Kelly are some of the most popular mini bags from Hermes. My personal favorite is the Mini Bolide, then the Mini Plume, and last is the Mini Kelly currently, just because of how common it has become. But if you love a mini bag, the Mini Plume 2 might be something that you want to look into. But the Plume is basically available in every single size that you can think of. It might not be available directly from Hermes currently, but at one point, I can assure you that the Plume existed in almost every single size, and it is a bag that you can pick up for virtually pennies on the pre-loved market just because it's not so popular. But you might want to do it sooner rather than later, because I assume with this bag making a comeback, it will get a little bit more popular, which means that it will also be slightly more expensive on the pre-loved market. Anyway, if you would like to find out more about the Plume bag and hear my thoughts on the newest take on this bag, which is the Plume chain, make sure that you check out my last What's New from Hermes update. And I think it was either in that video or the one before, I mentioned that the Elan Danse is also getting another push, which, call me a fortune teller if you must, but I mentioned that the Elan Danse is something that we'll be seeing a lot more of. I had no idea that it was going to be one of the only bags that makes an appearance on the runway, but it was. So the Elan Danse, if you love that original design, it is definitely something that you will be able to find in stores. Now, the Elan Danse, I have talked about this many times before. It's not my favorite take on the Kelly bag, but I understand the appeal. It's one of those bags that comes with a longer strap, which you can twist and turn to make this bag into a ton of different styles. So of course you have this really simple sort of pouch bag design, which you can carry on its own as a clutch bag, but you can also use the strap to turn this into a shoulder bag, a crossbody bag, a belt bag, and even a back bag. My issue with this bag is that it's trying to be so many things that it's unable to do just one thing well. It's kind of a jack of all trades and a master of none. It's trying to be just way too much that it spreads itself too thin. But if you appreciate the design, it was also shown on the runway being carried. I think it was carried as a clutch bag. We saw it being carried as a belt bag and also as a back bag. I think it looks best either as a clutch bag, as a shoulder bag, or as a back bag, but only if you're really petite. I would not carry this bag as a belt bag because I think it looks incredibly awkward, but it does work as a clutch bag if you like the design and you're looking for something that is a little bit more casual than something like a Kelly pochette or even a Kelly Elan, which we'll move on to in a second. You know, there's nothing wrong with it, but my issue is when people are forcing this bag into a belt bag or when they try to turn this into a backpack and they simply cannot make the proportions work. I mean, it's your money, you do whatever you want to do with it, but personally, it's not my favorite take on the Kelly bag. But if it is yours, I'm sure it's going to be available in a ton of different colors and leathers. It was not only offered in chèvre, in swift, but also in lizard and even in alligator. And most recently was introduced with a fringe detail. So it's definitely a very popular design, and I am in the minority here, not being a big fan. But if you are, it's making a comeback, and so is the Kelly Elan. The Kelly Elan is another elongated take on the original Kelly design. It is kind of, it reminds me of those 90s virtually paper thin, really narrow bags that is slightly more elongated. Again, it comes with a shorter strap that allows you to carry this bag as a top handle bag or as a shoulder bag. Don't think that the strap is long enough for you to carry it as a crossbody bag, but if you're looking for a bag that you can carry as a shoulder bag, this might be a good choice. Or you can of course also carry it as a handheld clutch. And we got another sneak peek of the Kelly Elan with a chain detail. It's not the first time that we saw this bag on the runway, but I have not actually seen this bag in stores. There's this special take on the Kelly Elan that features a removable, really thick, chunky metal chain, which almost looks like a piece of jewelry. And actually, it is a piece of jewelry because you can wear that chain as a bracelet too, which is a cool idea, but I definitely think that it gives the Kelly Elan a little bit more spice, and there is something really cool about it. I have nothing against it, but personally, it's just simply not my favorite. To me, it's neither here nor there. It's okay, but I'm not going crazy for it. I don't know if, have I ever had a chance to try it? I have definitely seen it in person, but I can't remember if I have tried it. Maybe if I did, it would change my mind, but personally it's not something that I am going to be going crazy for. But if you love the Kelly bag and you're looking for a special shape, this is going to be out for fall winter again. And I think it is kind of Hermes's attempt to replace the Mini Kelly and the Kelly pochette, because those well, the Kelly pochette isn't, but the Mini Kelly was supposed to launch as a limited edition bag in 2015. And at this point, it's so popular and so common that I wouldn't be surprised if at one point Hermes slowly tried to phase it out and replace it with the Elan. But I don't know how popular the Elan has been. So I don't know. Let's have a chat about this in the comment section. I love when these videos become kind of a group project and we all chime in and share our thoughts. So I would love to hear what you think about these pieces, what you think about the Elan Danse, the Elan. Do you own these pieces? Are they on your wish list? Have you played around with them? Please let me know in the comment section. I cannot wait to hear from you. I am basically just thinking out loud and throwing all my thoughts at you. But the Elan is going to be out in goatskin with the original shorter strap. And if you are looking for the Elan with a really unique touch, it's going to be available in box with a removable metal chain, which rumor has it you can also wear as an actual bracelet. And then the last piece that I wanted to put on your radar, which is actually a new shape that's being introduced, which is, it's kind of like a cylindrical sort of mini duffel made of felt. Now, one thing to keep in mind, even if you love this new shape, is that Hermès' felt is not the best quality. Now, I'm not sure if this bag will exclusively be available in felt or if it's also going to be available in leather. And this is just the first sneak peek that we got on the runway, but Hermès is introducing this sort of micro duffel, this cylindrical shaped bag, which kind of looks like a rolled up sleeping bag in my opinion. But if you love a really utilitarian, user-friendly shape, I feel like it's something that we would have seen from a brand like Louis Vuitton a couple of years ago. This bag is going to be out for fall winter. Hopefully it's not just one of those runway pieces that will never make it into production. I would really love to see this bag in different finishes, perhaps even in leather, because in leather I think it would be a lot longer lasting. And this shape would actually make it quite user-friendly. So I wanted to put this particular shape on your radar. As soon as I have more information on this, including the name, the different colors and sizes that it's going to be available in, you'll be the first to know. But if you love the idea, if you love the shape, if you feel like it's something that you could take advantage of, which personally I think that this particular style and shape is something that could be styled in a really cool way, I wanted you to be aware of it just so you can start talking about this bag with your store. And then last but not least, the Arcon bag was also seen on the runway again. You know that I am a huge fan of the Arcon bag. It's a piece that we reviewed, was it in my last ranking Hermes bags video? So I don't want to waste your time talking about that bag again. If you have not seen that ranking video of mine, I basically reviewed over 10 currently available Hermes bags, including the Arcon and the Arcon Petite. And long story short, I am a huge fan of both of those bags. So I think that is everything we had to discuss today. There was also a larger duffel bag on the runway, which we have been seeing for a couple of seasons now. You know, it's fine, but I don't think it is something that we should go crazy for. And that was everything we had to discuss in today's video. I really hope you enjoyed just having this really casual, laid back chat with me about some of the new pieces that are launching for fall winter. In theory, I mean, that probably means that we'll start seeing these things in store for spring summer, but I've been trying to keep you updated on what's currently in stores every month, so stay tuned. As soon as I have more information, you will be the first to know. And now it's your turn to let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I cannot wait to hear from you. That is my favorite part about these videos. So please let me know in the comment section or your review on these pieces. And while you're down there, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't done so yet. I really appreciate you being here and watching, and I cannot wait to see you back here with a new video really soon.